Now anyone can chuck a yellow pop-up out into the abyss and fluke the big girl, but what about those people that do it on a regular basis? Well, I bet your next PB that the products they're using are in this video. Now, if you're a fan of fishing single hook baits, they've got to be right. When that single hook bait hits the pond, it's got to literally scream attraction. And sometimes chucking a fluorescent one to a showing fish or to the horizon and hoping for the best isn't enough. Whether you've got a hook bait that changes the taste or potentially does a shift in the pH level, those type of hook baits are reasonably difficult to locate in retailers, especially if you're like me. The amount of times I walk down the aisle in a retailer and open the tub of pop-ups and give them a sniff, it's very likely that that tub of pop-ups I've had a sniff of, you may have in your tackle box. And let's face it, we are all looking for that little edge that gives us an advantage over other anglers and helps us catch big fish. Now, if it was as easy as just getting something bright, fruity and smelly from a retailer, we'd all be doing it. But unfortunately, nowadays, it's just not that easy. Now, me being a little bit of a hook bait snob, I will never change or add anything to my angling when I'm doing a match the hatch approach at certain times of year. However, when seasons change and I move over to my pop-ups or even plastics, I do use sweeteners rather than flavours. Because let's face it, a sweetener will just make everything taste better. Whereas adding flavours to things on baits that are basically tried and tested already, I do feel there's too much room for human error. But with regard to sweeteners, if you did want to use a sweetener and have a play with one that you don't need a PhD in chemistry to use, then the best and most readily available is Betalin. Now, Betalin liquid you can use in any reasonable amount. There's no real written rule about how little or how much you can use, and you can leave your hook bait soaking in it for months. It's a really super sweet liquid and it can be used on anything. It can be used on your freebies, it can be used on maggots, hemp, castor, worm, sweet corn, dog biscuits. It can boost your plastics, it can boost your hook baits, your pop-ups, anything you really need boosting, it will work an absolute treat. For example, if you think of that tub of pop-ups you've had for months on end that's been open and closed more times than your mobile phone apps, this will give those pop-ups a brand new lease of life, so you don't have to go out and buy some new hook baits to give this liquid a try. Now, Betalin can be used all year round, but for me personally, it comes into its own in the winter months. And in fairness, you're a braver man than me if you go fishing without some special hook baits soaked in this liquid. And as much as we hate to admit it, winter is only just round the corner, so now is the perfect time to get a bottle and start preparing your hook baits, because you can soak them now and in a couple of months you are done. So when it comes to winter time, your hook baits will have that added wallop. And let's face it, we want to spend more time fishing in the winter than we do preparing our baits. But one quick tip on that: once you've soaked your hook baits, maybe check them again in a couple of weeks, and if they have absorbed all the liquid, that's a perfect excuse to add a little bit more. Now, one Betalin and bait combo which is better than most is definitely Betalin mixed with tigers, because this creates possibly one of the most effective carp attractors going. Now, there's a few ways you can do this mix. The cheapest obviously is to buy and prepare your own tigers. If you do that, then please check a video online from an experienced and well reputable angler or company, because unfortunately preparing particles, some people do get it wrong, and if you get it wrong, you're going to damage the fish and on some occasion cause bloating, and unfortunately the fish will perish. So watch a video from a reputable person, or you can watch this video. So the way I do it is completely risk-free, because the tigers I buy are already pre-cooked. So to make this Betalin and tiger nut mix, you need a pre-cooked jar of tigers. Obviously these are unflavoured, so pre-cooked natural tigers. You need your little bottle of Betalin, pure liquid gold is the one I'm using, because you can get them in different flavours. And then I use this, it's a 500 gram of brown sugar, and it's the type of brown sugar which is perfect for baking. So there's a few things you need to know when making the mix. It's not just a case of throwing it together. So get the tigers open, there we go. So everything in this jar goes straight into the bucket. Like so. I will pour some water over the top just to make sure they're completely submerged. There we go. So once all the tigers are completely submerged, because you don't want them drying out because they'll just end up floating. So you get the bag of sugar, just open that in there because it'll just go everywhere. There we go. Put all the sugar in like that, and then I'll give that a stir, like so. Oh, smell-o-vision should be a thing. And when with the Betalin liquid, I'll put 3 capfuls in. Now at this stage, this is how I would leave it. So I'd obviously give it a stir, make sure the nuts are submerged. I'd put the lid on and I'd leave it for 24 hours. Now after that's soaked for 24 hours, I'd just check it, give it another stir. Now this is normally when, if you were boiling your own tiger nuts or preparing them yourself, this is at that point when you would boil them. So you'd let all that liquid and everything, the sugars and the Betalin, do its mix, you'd transfer it to a hob, and then you'd boil and cook your tigers. But as my tigers are already done, that's all in there and it's all mixed. And what I'd do is I'd just get some boiling water out the kettle, boil your kettle, just pour that into the mix and top it up, top the liquids up, and then once that's mixed, put your lid back on, store it somewhere with preferably a warm area, so warm and dark like your garage, and let the mix do its magic. I would leave that for a minimum 48 hours before you use it. If you can, longer, maybe a week or 2 weeks. And then the end result is you've created possibly one of the best carp baits on the planet. Now, Hinders Betalin is available direct from their website, and their website address is www.hinders.co.uk. Now, there's lots of other Betalin products on there, and they are definitely worth taking a look at because some of them have serious carp pulling power. Now, this liquid is the pure liquid gold liquid and comes in at £9.95. But not only is this available from Hinders, it's also available on all good participating retailers. So this is the display box, which will normally be on the counter, but it's not on the counter, then ask the retailer where it is, because sometimes things aren't where you expect them to be. To all our subscribers, if you have used this, please put something in the comments to help out our other guys that potentially haven't used it before. So thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to CARPology TV. And that is enough for me, because now I've got all this carp pulling power with me, I think it's fair to say I'm off fishing.